Hey guys, it's Tony with WoodTramp Outdoors magazine. I'm out in Forest City, Illinois at the River Valley Survival Fest today. Got a special guest here, Mr. Isaiah Tuck from Malone. All right, guys, welcome back. Yeah, we're down here at this Survival Fest, and I didn't know who was going to be down here, and lo and behold, I was told that this gentleman off to my left was going to be here, and I thought it'd be very interesting for you, not only watching this on YouTube and our channel, but also we're going to put it in the magazine also. So it'll be a fun time, and you're going to learn a lot. So thank you, Isaiah, for agreeing to do this,
yes, sir.
Man.
Thanks for having me.
We sat around last night at that fire and listened to you tell your story, and I got to tell you what, man, you going all the way down to the basics of what drove you to be a survivalist.
Sure.
Telling that story about your mother.
Mm-hmm.
Would you be comfortable telling that story again?
I'm wide open to about anything.
Yeah, man. I'd like for everyone to be able to hear that story because, everybody, not everybody, but, folks have had some bad times and it sometimes cripples them for life.
Yeah.
But it sounds like to me that it helped serve as a guidepost for you.
Certainly. Yeah, definitely the survival wasn't just a hobby for me growing up. It was just a way of life. Foraging, hunting, bushcraft was just the way that we had to go about our daily lives. For example, we were talking last night about scrimping by, and I very very specifically remember my mom in the parking lot in the vehicle crying in the car while the rest of us kids were trying to find a change in the seat cushions to try to afford a can of beans, and just something as simple as that sticks in your head, that drives you to adapt really to any of your scenarios, and being able to catch your own food, or to procure your own food from nature, and to put a thumb on it. To be able to survive and be self-reliant.
Okay.
Yeah.
So you were very interesting on the program, and when we were watching it, I said, I think this guy's going to burn him out on this shelter. I think he's going to burn out on this shelter, and well, you didn't. You had one of the best shelters that I've ever seen on the Alone series, and so that was really good. It was interesting to watch you, and then to hear your story. That to me is a part of the DNA of your backbone.
Definitely.
That help you to be tenacious enough to put your chin in the wind and have an attitude of I'm gonna make it, and if I don't, I'm gonna break it.
Definitely.
I think you're that type of man. Right? And you were in the service. Thank you for your service.
Yes, sir.
Appreciate it. You had deployments.
Mm-hmm.
Where were you deployed at?
Oh, I've been all over the place.
Okay.
Mostly hot and sandy stuff.
Okay, I got it. And what was your job?
So I've had quite a few different jobs. I've gone from everywhere from being a rigger, packing parachutes, to survival gear, to protocol even. Being over the modes and methods of which we do events and situations in the military itself.
Okay.
Yeah.
All right. And you gonna be all right there? Okay. And would you say that your upbringing in West Virginia, not Virginia, West Virginia, helped serve you in the military in the different AOLs that you were in?
Yeah, definitely. West Virginia, they're known for a few different things, and the main thing being is their pride. And we don't have a lot. You know, it's a very a lot of poor communities, and we don't have a lot of niceties.
Mm-hmm.
What we have is we have our family.
Yeah.
We have our family, and we have our friends, and everything that we do have, we hold it close to our heart.
Okay.
Yeah.
All right. Son, we're filming.
Oh.
Thank you.
Later.
And so for us, the pride that we have in the few things that we have, that drives us to keep that close to heart, and to really appreciate what you have. And when you have that mindset, then it makes everything else prioritizing very easy.
Okay, cool. All right, so let's drill down on this. You know, you got your application in, and the process is grueling, man. It truly is. You are the 5th person I've interviewed off of a loan.
Wow.
And they all say the same thing. The drill down on that application process almost wears you out.
Yes.
And then, you know, you get chosen, and they take you out. They give you $3,000 to buy your gear. And, you know, we were kind of chuckling. You know, you get $3,000, and you still had to fork out an extra $2,000 just to get your gear to where you were comfortable with taking it into the Arctic boreal forest.
Yes, sir.
Now, I want to ask you something right now. How do you pronounce that?
Boreal.
Boreal?
That's how I've always said it. I don't know how you're actually supposed to say it. I'm not from there, so I don't know.
Me neither.
I've always said boreal.
Okay, all right. So it's up there real close to the Arctic tundra, cold as cold can get.
Yes, sir.
Now, you're from West Virginia. You don't get those type of temperatures there.
Not quite. We have a different type of cold, and it was nothing that I wasn't too familiar with, but it did get colder than what I was familiar with. But I'm no stranger to being out in the woods and the freezing temperatures, though.
Now, listening to your presentation last night, was I correct in assuming or understanding that your clothing was probably priority for you to focus on?
Yes, sir. I made that quite a point to make sure that every single layer had served a purpose, and that it was the most effective that can be, because you can only take so many items,
Right.
And so each item had to be killer, and I did quite a bit of research, bought from different types of jackets and undergarments and everything from different companies to make sure I made this perfect kit of gear. Because I mean, you're creating in that type of element. You're creating your environment, your immediate environment that
Right.
you're trying to live in, your own little microclimate through the clothes that you wear.
Right.
And so it had to be perfect.
It had to be perfect.
Yes, sir.
We've watched some programs where they were not perfect,
Yes, sir.
and it ended bad. So now that we got that, let's talk about the area real quick. When you landed and saw that, what was the first impression?
My first impression was just how vast it was. Where it was meeting the tundra, it was so flat with random outcroppings of hills like popping up and jagged cliffs and whatnot. And so being dropped off there immediately, it was completely different than any kind of topography in West Virginia.
Right.
And it was just absolutely gorgeous. It was breathtaking. And there's just so much sky. I couldn't believe how much sky there was. And I got dropped off immediately. I was dropped off in a swamp, and it was water up to the brim of my boots. And
Was that planned?
I don't know if that was part of their plan or not. That's just where they dropped me off.
Okay.
And so I was immediately in the water, and had to find some higher ground to set up a temporary camp.
And how soon after that initial drop-off did you realize that you were going to be neighbors with North America's ugliest predator?
Yeah, it was just minutes in. I was very militant about my initial setup, and so I did my 30, 60, 90 yard scan, and within my 30, it was within 15 really of where my initial base camp was going to be, was the massive, the biggest bear tracks I'd ever seen. But we don't have grizzlies in West Virginia. The biggest bear tracks I'd ever seen, plus a small track beside it. I say small, it was still big, and it was a mama bear with a cub, mama grizzly, and that was initially what opened my eyes to, hey, this is no joke. You really put yourself in it this time, and it's quite humbling when you're not in TV danger, you're in actual danger.
Exactly.
Yeah.
How much training did they give you to handle a bear encounter, a grizzly encounter?
So they had a few different items. They had air horn that they gave us, and bear spray, and they did train us on how to use the bear spray and proper methods of deployment. Also, if you had the time to use it, they gave you it's like a cap gun.
Yeah.
And it shoots like a flare, almost like a tiny little flare.
Mm-hmm.
And they're called bear bangers. And so they did give us that if you had the time to
Right.
get it out and use it.
Yeah.
And
bear attacks you don't give you time.
Yeah, it's not a lot of time to work with. But it was they did give us some items, and they did show us how to use them.
Okay, cool. So speaking of items, you're allowed 10 different items of your choice.
Yes, sir.
And why don't you just kind of give us a rundown of what your 10 items were?
Sure. So I start out with a sleeping bag. I had a negative 60-degree sleeping bag that I took out with me, and it was a great bag. It kept me super warm, crazy warm. And then I had my bow that I took with me, and with 9 arrows. I decided to take my shovel instead of an axe. My saw. A really large silky saw. I took my pot to cook in, my Leatherman, which was modified specifically for carving items. Let's see, what else did I take? I took fishing line with the assortment of 25 hooks, snare wire, and paracord. And I think that covers all 10. Maybe.
Pot?
Yeah. Oh, yeah, the pot. I took the 2-quart pot to cook in.
That impressed me. I've never had one of those in my hands.
Yeah, that's anodized aluminum by a company called GSI Outdoors, and it's incredible how light it is.
I love that little pot. We'll probably put one of those in our camp kitchen.
Nice.
We don't carry a Dutch oven with us because of the heft of a cast iron.
Oh, yeah.
You know, that is half that. So you were talking last night about a couple people asked you, was there anything you would swap out? I'm just going to ask you that again.
Yeah, I was pretty happy with the items that I took as far as the 10 items in general. If I were to reconsider an item, if I were to make a switch, I would have swapped my paracord for block assault. But that's still, I'm still happy with the decisions I made, but I would have been just as happy with assault instead of the paracord if I would have chosen to have gone with assault.
That's a tough choice, man. It's hard to duplicate what paracord can do out in the field.
Yes, sir. It's about impossible to duplicate what assault could do for you.
That's true. That's true.
Yeah.
Well, I don't know if I had that choice I'd probably go with the paracord, to be honest with you.
Yeah, well, the paracord is such a convenience item. It made it so handy, and it saves so much calories.
Right.
And so building my shelter I'm sure I could have done it with all kinds of spruce roots or handmade rope or whatnot, or even using my fishing line or my snare wire. I could have used any of that, but the paracord was just so handy.
How much paracord did it allow you to take?
I'm wanting to say it was about 300 foot.
300 foot.
Or maybe that was the fishing line. I can't remember.
Okay.
Yeah, I can't remember off
Okay.
the top of my head.
Not important. All right. And if there's one thing that you would tell an alone candidate, you have to take this, what would you tell them?
Well, anymore, that's harder to say because this season, season 12, that just aired was in Africa.
Right.
And so that completely changes the game as
Sure.
far as items to take. And so putting my thumb down on you have to take this, that's pretty tough to say. If it was Arctic, if it was my season, if they were going into a place that was just like my season, I wouldn't have wanted to do without my my Leatherman or my fire starter.
Okay.
For the sake of like most bushcrafters can start a fire pretty easy with a bow drill or a hand drill or a pump drill, something like that. But the calorie expenditure is significant compared to being able to just start one immediately with the ferro rod.
Mm-hmm.
And so trying to think strategically with the game, having the ferro rod was a huge item.
Now, speaking of game, you have a list of wildlife that you cannot harvest, right? And was any of the animals on that list a surprise to you or a disappointment?
Not as much of a surprise or disappointment. Was caribou. We weren't allowed to take any caribou. I was surprised. We weren't allowed to take marten.
Oh yeah.
So every other season, they could trap marten or whatnot, but on this season we weren't allowed to take a marten, and so those marten could just get in and out of our fish caches.
Oh yeah.
And everything, and there's nothing, we couldn't do anything to them. We just have to try to make a deterrent, and we couldn't kill the marten.
Yeah,
and that would have been so nice because I saw them daily.
They're smart.
Yes, sir.
They're very smart problem solvers, and it's hard to get around that. What was the hardest game for you to harvest?
So for me, I was only able to take pike and squirrels and rabbits at my location in the time that I had. I would have loved to have taken a moose or anything like that, but I just didn't see them on my time. I barely saw a lot of moose sign on my property. I saw a lot of older sign, but not a crazy amount of new sign on my property. And but as far as what was the hardest of all those to take, it was hard to shoot the squirrels because it was a big spruce forest that I would see them in. And so it was hard to get the shots off. And their squirrels are so tiny.
Yeah.
They're like the size of little chipmunks.
They're little gray squirrels.
Yeah, and so they had tiny squirrels, so it was hard to shoot the squirrels. It was hard to locate areas for bunnies. And in my area specifically, it was really hard. It was difficult fishing because of the amount of snags and such that I had underneath the surface of my water. And so leaving out a long-term bank line was almost impossible because the fish would get tangled up, and snap my line.
Right.
Yeah.
That's disappointing.
Yeah, especially when you only have 25 hooks.
Yeah, and hungry.
Yes, sir.
And hungry. So you're talking about harvesting the squirrels, and I know that you took them with your bow. You didn't trap any.
I did snare some squirrel.
Did you snare? I couldn't remember.
Yeah, I did. I shot them with my bow, and I snared them with a pole snare.
Pole snare. Oh yes, now I remember.
Yeah,
that was cool. My point being is that there's people watching this right now that have been archers their whole life. Compound bow. You said something last night that I really want to dial in with these folks that think they're just going to go out, to a scenario and just live in the woods and hunt game, because they've taken a deer once a year.
Sure.
How many arrows did you put down range to develop yourself? And first of all, you watched a ton of videos. You mentioned Clay Hayes last night.
Yes, sir.
He's a great guy. Man, how smart he is and great skills. You watched him. And then how many arrows did you tell us you put down range and prep?
It was an easy 4,000 to 5,000 arrows that I was flinging once I bought the bow and the arrows and had them all fletched up, and I was slinging arrows nonstop to get dialed in because I knew how hard it was going to be to get these squirrels, and I didn't want to miss a one of them.
Right.
And so getting dialed in took a lot of practice because I've always been an instinctive shooter, but then I started taking up the walking gap method and actually aiming, and that really helped me out.
And you learned that from Clay?
Yes.
Good. All right. I've been an instinctive shooter.
Yeah, I learned that from a mix of Clay's videos plus another video that he recommended. I can't remember the name. It's like almost like a full-length movie on archery. The Push or something like that. I can't remember.
Could be.
I can't remember what it's called, but it's very instructive, and yeah. So it really was a game changer for me, and I didn't want to take any chances. One, I don't like the idea of needlessly hurting an animal and causing suffering, and so kill shots are pretty important to me.
Sure.
And so making sure that I was taking game the way I wanted to take it was important.
Okay. So you left the show on day 23.
Yes.
Day 23. And that is an accomplishment that you should be proud of. I'm sure you are.
Oh, I am.
In that situation, you're always going to grow in some way, shape, or form.
Sure.
Tell us again what caused you to push that button.
So for me, it was a drawn out decision, but it was still a pretty easy decision. I worked too hard. I was out of shape, and I lost too much weight too quick. Those three things caused my all the muscles in my chest to get inflamed, and that squeezed down on my lungs and my heart. And that occurred over a time span of 15 days. It just got worse and worse daily, and I didn't know what it was. I'm no doctor, so I couldn't self-diagnose. And then by the time I got to day 23, it was straight up putting me on the ground in pain, and that's saying a good bit. Yeah. And ultimately, I decided that since I didn't know what it was, I didn't know if I was looking at the big one coming up soon or something like that, that I had to prioritize my family, who was still at home waiting for me. And if I were to do something that would be permanent to me, that would leave them alone for a long time.
That's scary.
And so I'm not going to play that game of, they're going to be alone and have to go through the same torture I was voluntarily putting myself through.
Yeah. Okay, that's smart. All right, so I'm going to just have a couple more questions for you.
I've got it all the time.
Okay. If you could say if there's one survival skill, I ask everybody this, that you say that all outdoorsmen should learn and master, what would it be?
As far as one skill, for me, I would say what I can only speak for myself, and so the one skill or factor about me that makes my survival that much easier is my mindset.
Okay.
And I stay positive, I stay upbeat, and I see the brighter side of things. That's got me through everything, including like basic training, all the above. I can just zoom out and see how funny a situation really is if you're just looking at it from a different angle.
Okay.
And a big factor for that, of how I'm able to do that, is I have just this inner joy, and my joy just so happens comes from a relationship with Jesus Christ.
Great.
And so that's how that's how I have that mindset of staying positive and staying upbeat, is knowing that ultimately, in the end, whatever happens, just happens. Okay. Everything happens for the greater good, and ultimately everything pans out. And whether it's good or bad, it'll pan out, and everything will be fine. The world will keep turning, and Christ is still King. So,
absolutely,
that gets me through everything.
So you come home. How long did it take you to integrate mentally and physically back into your old lifestyle?
For me, it wasn't too hard. 23 days was an experience in itself, and it was a long time per the bar of most survivalists trying to go out in the woods. But as far as being a long time out of society, 23 days was really just a drop in the bucket of what it could have been. And so for me to reculturalize and socialize wasn't too difficult.
Of course, you had the advantage of being deployed around the world, and that's a separation anxiety in itself.
Sure.
So you kind of already had it, and you knew what it was like to come back, integrate into society after deployment.
Certainly.
That helped you out.
Yeah, I would agree with that.
Okay. All right. Well, I tell you what, man, I really appreciate you taking the time for us, and appreciate you checking out the bush butter, man. I think you're really going to like that.
I'm so excited. Thank you for that. That's going on everything.
Yeah,
I got.
man. We give that to everybody, and that we're out here with today, and we got some pretty interesting folks out here, but a lot of stuff you can do with that. So I appreciate it, man.
Yes, sir.
Your time is precious, and I do wish you the best.
Awesome.
So thanks for watching, and thanks for all your support, reading the magazine, and all your notes. You can leave us a little comment down there, like and share it and all that type of stuff, and get out there. You got a YouTube channel?
I don't have a YouTube channel, but if you want to watch season 11 of Alone, you can stream it on anything that streams the History Channel, or catch it on Hulu. And that's my season 11.
I said 10, didn't I?
I don't even remember.
I said season 10. And you didn't correct me. You're a gentleman.
I was actually supposed to be on season 10, but I got deployed.
Maybe that's where I got it at.
Yeah, I was supposed to be on season 10, but then I got deployed. Jeez. And then I managed to get back on to season 11.
Okay.
Yeah.
All right. And that just shook me from my last question. Well, all right. So, what is this new project you got coming up? I know we said we're getting off. We'll just edit it. What's the new project you got coming? Can you talk about it?
The new project? I won't talk about it on YouTube.
Okay. All right. So I'm gonna get off of here, and I'm gonna get a little private schooling from Isaiah Tuck himself.
Oh yeah.
So wherever he's at, get out on Alone. Season 11. Check him out. He had some really interesting stuff he did. The shelter is crazy. The fireplace that he made was really dope. That's for sure.
Yeah,
that was smart, And I've said that all along. Man, if they put me somewhere cold, I'm building a fireplace. I'm going to stick in like I'm going to be there for a minute.
Yes, sir.
All right, guys. So until next time, you guys be safe out there no matter what you're doing.